Hello, everybody. Welcome in to Ghost Racing Network. We are here in the Dash for the Cash Series presented by Jimmy Curl Money Racing at Talladega Superspeedway. It's going to be a big 2.65-mile tri-oval super speedway. Not a D-shaped oval, but giant backstretch, heavy banking. The corners is setting us up for a good one tonight. Track temp is only 66 degrees Fahrenheit, which means these trucks are not going to have a handling problem. Getting, though, into your weather outside, it's going to be 65 degrees Fahrenheit, 0% humidity, cloudy skies, and 1 mile per hour wind. We are in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series for a 31-lap race. Pretty short event. 46% fuel, though, is going to allow for some pit stops and strategy to come into play. Unlimited tires, one faster pair. Fixed setups as always, but it is an open setup that Jimmy gives these guys, which makes these trucks a little faster. And there will be 2 green-white checkers if we so happen to need them. Turn my mic down just a little bit as I realize I'm pretty loud. Let's jump now right into your starting grid. Starting on the pole, no surprise here. Guess who? It's Dale Cup, Steve Korsak in the 27. Second, Zachary Lima. Third, Cody Nagels. 4th is going to be Gabe Butler. Row 3 will be Kenneth Stamper. Good to see him back out here. 6, Richard Sanchez. Vicente Guerrero, 7th. He's got Jeff Merck to his outside. Dude Conrad, Danny Eshelman. Both drivers making up row 5 and 9th and 10th. 11th will be Garrett Maines. Nash Brambilla starts 12th. Moving back to 13th, it's going to be David Duke with Ambrose Kniebel to his outside. Michael Kirk and Dylan Jones start in row 8. 17th is going to be Kyler Wynn. 18th, Joey Allen. Rounding out the field for the 19th truck will be Larry McDonald in the 80. And I believe he might be one of the few, if not the only, McCall Motorsports. For some reason, I thought I saw a David Sheets in here, but now I'm thinking back on it. I know I might sound a little quiet. I did only get 4 hours of sleep last night, so I do apologize. Don't seem as energetic as usual, but I think these guys are going to find a way, like they seem to always, to get me up and off my seat, because this is going to get exciting. We have seen some great racing. Last time we were here in the Dash for the Cash Series, we were in the NASCAR Legacy Truck Series, and boy, did it not disappoint. We saw 4-wide racing up front, but I think overall these drivers really like being in the new Truck Series a little bit more, and we'll see if Steve Korsak and his teammate Zachary Lima, they actually have all 3 Dale Cup drivers. I mean, you saw it when we went over the grid, but I mean, let's just give it a little more acknowledgement. They are looking to dominate here early. You know who I didn't see in the field was Daniel Eberhardt, and even though his teammate Dylan Jones, of course, was in here, Kyler Wynn, though, and Dylan Jones, actually, those two are teammates. We're not used to seeing Kyler in here, but being in here tonight, we'll see just how aggressive he's really willing to get. But here we go. The pace car pulls off. Steve Korsak. And the amount of green flags he has seen from the front row is more than I can count on my 2 hands. But here we go at Talladega on the Dash for the Cash Series. 31 laps. Green flag is in the air. You see Steven Lima get a pretty good jump. Is the plan here maybe to let Lima down? I wouldn't think so this early. And 88 of Gabe Butler is going to get right on the bumper of Lima and try to push him out front. But here comes Cody Nagels and Steve Korsak on the bottom. And they're not going to leave any opportunity for that to happen. Working their way out of turn 2 for the first time. Both lines pretty even. Steve Korsak still on the bottom, but we've seen before if he can get clear. I think he's thinking about jumping up in front of his teammate Zachary Lima further back. We already see 3 wide. These guys, no 3 wide restriction rule, and for that matter, no 4 wide restriction rule. And you better believe we're going to see some of that as this race continues. But Gabe Butler, I don't know if he necessarily has any teammates that he's working with. He does have Richard Sanchez just behind him in the 5-10, followed by Jeff Merck, the 30 of Kenneth Stamper. 3rd truck on that inside line. He has started to get something going. You see him in that Pengels truck. Pretty good looking paint scheme, the orange and white camo. I haven't seen one like that in a little while. I really like it there. 2 laps of 31 down so far here. The whole field really sticking together, as it looks like I also see a Tennessee truck. So we got a couple football team trucks out here. But let's take a look at some of these guys that are sitting further back in the field. And we always talk about it, but it's pretty much the same. You know, every race, these guys all have different strategies. And back here, even though we haven't seen much 3 wide, it looks like some of the drivers such as Larry McDonald in the 80, Dylan Jones just in front of him, Joey Allen and Kyler Wynn, they're all just sitting back right now. No need to really get up there and run. And that's going to make Ambrose Kniebel the last truck that I would say is really in the mix, as you see him up there just behind Danny Eshelman in the 6. Garrett Maines behind Jeff Merck. And I think when he's ready to go to the front, you're going to know he will certainly jump that outside lane. Not sure the exact number that they can make on the fuel window of what they have. However, you've got to think it's somewhere, if I had to guess, somewhere around the 15-ish lap range. It's going to be really, really close on whether or not they can make it on one stop or not. And maybe that's why we're not seeing a lot of 3 wide right now. I'm kind of surprised. Everybody has stayed even, but everybody's staying tight together, which tells me nobody can be saving too hard. You know, when we see fuel strategy really starting to play into it, we will see some of these guys start to back up further and further. Larry McDonald, ooh, looks like he is blinking a little bit out back. But everybody's keeping it clean, nice and spacious. Let's ride on board here. A couple of these guys throughout the field. Start with Kenneth Stamper in the 30 truck. See what he's got, the view out of the windshield here. Tell you what he's got, a windshield full of Cody Nagels, who's pushing Steve Korsak. He's trying to keep him out in the lead. Looks like we do have Duck Duck in the chat. It says, good evening, smile. And I'll tell you what, it's good to see you out here, Duck Duck. Reminder, I am very tired. Didn't get really much sleep last night, so I apologize if I sound a little boring. But these guys sure aren't making the racing board, as we have stayed 2 by 2 up front. The battle for the lead has not calmed down. Zachary Lima, Steve Korsak, they might be teammates. but neither of them are willing to give an inch right now. The 88 of Gabe Butler refuses to let anybody else think about jumping up to that top lane, at least not in front of him. 5-10 of Richard Sanchez. We actually saw Richard last time, I believe it was when we were out here. Yeah, sure enough, last time the NASCAR Legacy Truck Series had a pretty strong run, was up towards the front, unfortunately got shuffled out, and once he fell out, we couldn't see him quite get back up to the front in time. Vicente Guerrero, that's another Dale Cup driver in the field tonight. He runs in the 14 truck, currently in 7th. Let's see who some of your biggest movers are right now, and it looks like Michael Kirk for Beard Motorsports doesn't have his teammate in here tonight, but he is up 4 spots now from where he started. Currently runs 11th on the inside line. Just a couple spots in front of him here. We're going to see Dude Conrad in the 8 truck, and it looks like on his outside it's going to be the 78 of David Duke. David, I think, might be a new driver in here. I haven't seen him before on a broadcast that I've done, but good to see him up here. And he is running just outside the top 10 as it stands right now. Jimmy was letting these guys know the payouts in chat, and I'll check it here really quick again just to make sure I have it right for everybody. And initially there was going to be a top 4 payout. I'm not sure if he extended that by 1 spot or not, as we had just about a 20 truck field, and there was a payout that was based off 20. And these guys are all going to be fighting for every position they can get, though. They have not looking here to break even, that is for sure. But I think we're going to see this. I don't want to say it's calm because, you know, it's not, as we see Cody Nagel getting really close to his teammate's back bumper, even in the turns. But I don't think we'll really see anybody think about doing too aggressive 3 wide moves just yet, because they know that if they can't stick with the leaders on that first pit stop, they're going to be in trouble anyway. So right now, I think maybe you just kind of ride where you're at. Maybe save yourself a little bit of fuel. Wait till you get through that first pit stop, and then it'll really be time to pounce. As we see Zachary Lima, he'll inch out in front on the straights, but then Steve Korsek gets him right back through the corners. That is how the momentum usually swings here, especially in the truck series at Talladega. You want to be on that inside. It's the safer lane, but the outside is usually the place to be if you want the best chance at maybe getting to the front. And sure enough, let me let you guys know the payouts tonight. Based on 20 drivers, it would have been a top 5 payout with just 1 less. The payout should be, the winner should be going home here, if I had to guess, with over $100. For a $25 entry fee, that is not too bad at all, especially when you're contending with 20 trucks. Not a bad field at all, but we are going to have more Ghost Racing Network action covered after this race. We'll let you know more about that later in the race. Zachary Lima does continue to lead, though. It's going to be Steve Korsek, his teammate, 2nd. 3rd, Cody Nagels. 4th, Gabe Butler. Rounding out the top 5 is going to be Kenneth Stamper. Ooh, we saw Garrett Mange jump to the inside. Not sure if he is maybe getting there to set up for his pit stop. These guys, the fuel window has not opened yet, so you will not see any of these drivers come to pit yet, as they would not be able to make it unless, of course, if we do see them coming now, that would indicate to me that they're planning on having to make another pit stop, but I don't think that's the case right now. And let's look at your track map. Do you see this whole pack is still pretty tight together there? That first dot isn't too far back from the second dot, and that second dot is the last place truck right now of Kyler Wynn. But let me tell you something, this guy, when he's ready to go to the front, he's another one. We talk about it. There's just certain guys, they have a presence on the track. You almost know when they're ready to go, they're going to get there no matter what it takes and who they have to work with. But Kyler Wynn has someone that he works with very well, and that's Dylan Jones. Just 1 truck separating those two. But I think they're just playing it safe. In fact, let's take a ride on board here on the cockpit view with Dylan Jones to see if he's potentially saving some fuel. We'll clear this out of the way for you so you can see his RPMs running at exactly 7,000 RPM. Compare that to somebody up here such as Zachary Lima. And Lima's just over 7,000 RPMs as he runs on the outside in front of his teammate. Back here, it's a little bit more towards 7,000, maybe just a little bit over. So they're pretty close in terms of RPM. How about speed? 188, 185 up here towards the front, 183 in the corner. Kyler Wynn back here, 187, so he doesn't appear to, oh, and now he's, oh no, he is saving, it sounds like. You heard it right there, it almost sounded like he clutched it in. Let's see if, yeah, sure enough, so this is a pretty interesting tactic. This is not something we see too often. Look at his tachometer here. You see that? He is clutching it, so that tells me he is indeed trying to save fuel. And all of a sudden, that makes me think fuel might be a concern. A lot of times we'll just see guys hold it about 3/4 throttle, but Kyler Wynn's full getting out of it as this top lane is starting to lose a couple of trucks, but now we're going to see a couple more form right back up top. Zachary Lima and the 88 of Gabe Butler have not moved since the start of this thing. Richard Sanchez still running 2nd, but now we're going to see Zachary Lima finally, after I believe what we've had so far, 9 laps, is going to be able to jump down in front of his Dale Cup teammate Steve Korsek, and that's going to put Gabe Butler on top, leading the way on the outside. He's got Richard Sanchez in the 78 David Duke behind him. Boy, this is a good showing early from David Duke. Almost up to the top 5, up 7 spots, though, from where he started for back Jeff Burke. Looks like he is 3 wide. He's going to look to get back in line as we see Nash Brambilla, and I'm not sure who that is going with Nash right now. It's going to be, yep, Danny Eshelman, sure enough. And they are going to go back to 2x2. Jeff Merck fell back, but you see that top lane has fallen to only 2 trucks. That's not going to work. They're going to need some more help, or they're going to have to jump this inside line because Gabe Butler has taken over the lead with 22 laps to go. You'd think we're just at the end of a long race, but remember, these Dash for the Cash races are pretty short, only 31 laps rather. And that quick, we are already just about at 20 laps to go. Looks like we had a couple more people jump in the chat. Duck Duck did say, I tried out to miss a broadcast, and that's certainly appreciate Duck Duck. We always like seeing you out here, man. And as I just realized that I typed smile, that was supposed to be a smile. It's kind of funny. Julie Paul says, evening, go Nash, number 18, Nash Brambilla in the Vikings truck. Currently tried to crawl his way up a little bit. Looks like he has tucked back in line further towards the back. And Mark Vondell rooting for Dylan Jones. It's a good drive to root for. Dylan, another one of the fan favorites just because of how talented he is. Well, he never really talks that much. You'll never hear Dylan talking trash. You'll never hear him going off on another driver. He's always quiet, even if it's a day that doesn't go his way. And that attitude mixed with the talent, the driver behind the 11 truck, makes him a very fast driver. But he currently is sitting 17th, down 1 spot from where he started. But that's just because he hasn't made a move yet. Fuel window, you have to assume here, at least for the guys that are planning on making it in one stop, should be opening within 5 to 6 laps from now. And if they have to pit any earlier than that, I would start to be a little worried that they're not going to be able to make it on one stop. We saw some different strategies. I want to go back here to Kyler Wynn in case anybody that's just joining in missed it. And we're going to ride on board with him here. Watch, he is actually using the clutch here. See that? Look at the RPM. You see it drop down to 0. So what he's going to do here is he's going to get a big run on Larry McDonald, and then he's just going to put the clutch in. And that's how he's going to save himself as much fuel. Let's see how Larry's doing it. And I think Larry's... Oh, here we go. We're going to see some pit stops. Let's zoom out of this. Can everybody get in clean? Quite a few pit stops. Oh, they go 3-4 wide. Wow, some contact there. Well, I'll tell you what, the 78 David Duke, he came flying in there, squeaked right around the outside of Kenneth Stamper. That was an impressive move into pit road. But Steve Korsak, Zachary Lima are going to lead him down. And this tells me those guys are 100% not going to make it on one stop. They know they're going to have to pit again. Everybody that's still out, you got to think is still going for the strategy of making it on one stop. And that is sure enough why we saw one of the Road to Pro drivers of Kyler Wentz saving so hard. And he's going to have to save even harder right here to make it out. The battle out of pit road is an absolute cluster. It looks like the 54, though, is going to come out last. That is Michael Kirk for Beard Motorsports. These guys all getting back up to speed. Wow, most of them came out very tightly packed together. This is impressive. Normally we don't see guys able to stay together that well. Up front, let's see, are we going to get any more pit stops? Sure enough, we are. But they're not all going to go, and those 3 that are staying out are still on that fuel strategy, trying their best to make the one stop. These guys look like they got into a little bit more conservative, not as many lockups, not as long, and they weren't quite 3 and 4 wide like we saw on that first pit stop. They are led down by Jeff Merck, Gabe Butler, and Richard Sanchez. That's the 8 of Dude Conrad, and there is Nash Brambilla, who currently, before they come off pit road, is going to be sitting up here in 9th, up 3 spots from where he started. But let's watch one of my favorite cams here at Talladega because it really does show you just how quick the gap's closing. I think that front pack is going to be able to pass and pull away from these guys. But I could be wrong. Here we go, though. You see them right there, and it looks like it is a 6-truck lead pack, and they're going to group up and extend that number by at least a handful of trucks. Right now, though, it looks like Dylan Jones, who is your current leader, is still out on track. He's got Larry McDonald and Kyler Wynn behind him. And unfortunately, looks like Kyler Wynn, and actually all 3 of them are going to bail out Kyler. Well, he had to make a dive bomb move. He knew he could get in here a lot more aggressive than Larry McDonald, and that's why he had to go right around the 80. Dylan Jones also in. And this makes me think, and I think that's indeed what they did. I think they actually just bailed out of their strategy here. I could be wrong, but that's my guess here because they're not good to make it the rest of the way. I wouldn't think here. Again, it could always be wrong, but they should have had to pit with about 15 to go, you would think, in order to make it the rest of the way. By them pitting here, I think they realized that they weren't quite going to make it, and the time that they were going to lose wasn't going to be worth it. And let's see if it's going to be enough. Ooh, that pack's a lot closer. They're going to have to really hustle off pit road, but it looks like it might be just Dylan Jones and Kyler Wynn linked together. And that pack is coming up on them in a hurry. Ooh, they're going to go right by, sure enough. And they're going to pull away. These 2 are not going to be able to get in the draft. They're going to need to find a 3rd truck and start pushing in a hurry to have any chance to get all the way back up here. And that puts, guess who, the Coca-Cola Series driver of Garrett Maines out in front. He's got Steve Korsak on his bumper. Cody Nagel's 3rd. Kenneth Stamper now 4th. And Zachary Lima, who was working with his Dale Cup teammates so well earlier, has moved back to that 5th and final money position. Richard Sanchez in 6th. He's got Jeff Merck behind him in 7th. 8th is going to be Gabe Butler, Dude Conrad in 9th. And Kyler Wynn and Dylan Jones. Wow, sure enough, boy, they proved me wrong here. Looks like, actually, no, I take that back. I thought they were a little bit closer from that camera angle, but they're not. They're still decent ways back. And actually, we can tell you the gap. It sits at 2.1 seconds. Let me tell you something, though. Kyler Wynn and Dylan Jones, they're very good pushers. The problem is they just need that one extra truck. Even if that one extra truck isn't pushing that hard, all they need is somebody to stick on the bumper of Dylan Jones so that when he falls off Kyler Wynn, that truck can get him right back on there. We see Vicente Guerrero get back up to speed. He must have had a penalty or an issue because he is currently a lap down. David Duke as well, and we saw David make a pretty bold move, so he must have got a speeding penalty. That is going to be a black flag that they had to come in and serve. So Garrett Maines leads with 16 laps to go, but we are going to see another pit stop. At least, yeah, they're going to have to, because you figure they pitted on 18, and if they were going to make another 18, that would mean they'd have to get, or if they were going to make 18 and 18, yeah, there's just no way, unless I'm missing something here. But either way, let's get back to the action, because Steve Korsak, Jeff Merck, they don't look like they're too worried about saving fuel in any way here, as they're going to jump to the outside and try to give a run to Garrett Maines, who's being pushed by Cody Nagels. The 30 of Kenneth Stamper runs third on that inside line. And if we pull up the track map, let's see what the spread is looking like now. Now we're starting to see we get guys all over the track. Joey Allen has also fallen a lap down now in that 23 truck, as he's going to tag on to the back of this lead pack. Ambrose Knievel runs with David Duke, who is currently last place in the field. Michael Kirk for Beard Motorsports by himself. Good news is he's still on the lead lap. Bad news is he's going to need a caution to have a chance at any money. Larry McDonald, Danny Eshelman, and Nash Brambilla, they all run together. That is going to be a 14th, 13th, and 12th place group. And then we got Dylan Jones, Kyler Wynn, 9th on up is all in this lead pack. So right now they've all got a chance at the money, meaning for these drivers will be going home empty-handed. So we'll see if the racing picks up a little bit more before or after this pit stop. Only 2 trucks really committing to that outside line right now. Jeff Burke, Steve Korsak, they want to go to the front, but man, I bet they would sure like to see some help right now. I thought maybe Zachary Lima would jump up here, but he might be waiting until he can actually be on the back bumper of Steve Korsak. And it looks like further back now, Joey Allen that is going to jump to the top lane. He would like to maybe get his lap back the hard way if possible. It's going to be hard to do, but it would certainly help his cause if he could get up here and maybe help a couple of those guys to the front. And I don't know when we're going to see this final pit stop, but that's kind of what we're all waiting on. Garrett Maines, Steve Korsak. Your top 2 right now. The second row is going to be Cody Nagels and Jeff Merck, and then they go single file there on out. Kenneth Stamper, Zachary Lima, Richard Sanchez, Gabe Butler, and Dude Conrad. I want to give a shout out here again to Dude Conrad, because he did a phenomenal job on that last pit stop. It is a hard thing to do to pit at these super speedways with no teammates. But this is pretty much the smartest thing you can do if you don't have any teammates, and that is to make sure that you pit with some of these guys that you know are the fastest on and off pit road, so that you can come out with a big group. If you lose the draft at the super speedways, you are in trouble, as it looks like Zach Bailey rooting on Michael Kirk in the chat. We talked about earlier, Michael Kirk currently sitting 15th, and boy, he is looking for a caution right now. He would love nothing more. And look at the track map. He is in turn 1. The leaders right now, it looks like, are out of turn 4. So he's not in danger anytime soon. Oh, here we go. We're going to see some second round pit stops. Let's see who all it is. It's going to be Richard Sanchez, Dude Conrad, and Gabe Butler. Maybe these 3 are working together. They might know something that I don't. Because it's a little bit odd to see 3 trucks in the back of the pack all go together, unless, of course, they were teammates. But this might start triggering that final pit cycle. And we'll see if this strategy of pitting before anybody else works out for these 3. And this should mean maybe they're getting somewhere around 12, maybe a couple more laps of fuel with that 46% fuel coming out of the pits here. I think we might see the front group pitting this time. Steve Korsak looks like he has managed to drop in front of Garrett Maines. Cody Nagel still runs 3rd. But Jeff Merck, his drafting partner, had to fall back all the way to 6th before he could get himself a spot in line. It looks like David Overstreet says they are teammates. Okay, well, that sure enough makes a lot more sense then. And that's good news, because 3 trucks is all you need. Sometimes, actually, we see 3 trucks can run faster than some of these big packs, especially if they're teammates and they got the chemistry down. You can really push and make a ton of ground. Dylan Jones, Kyler Wynn, we talked about earlier. Doesn't matter how hard they push with only 2 trucks. They have continued to lose time over 7 seconds from what the gap initially was. They have fallen back from 2 seconds behind the leaders to 9+ seconds behind the leaders. And as we said earlier, they're going to need a caution. They are getting caught right now by NASCAR and Billa, Danny Esterman, Larry McDonald. And then it's going to be this actually a 4-truck pack, but only 3 of these trucks are actually together, and that's going to be Gabe Butler, the 510 Richard Sanchez, and Dude Conrad. Somebody tagging on, I believe that might be Joey Allen. No, that's not going to be Joey. I couldn't tell who that was then. Looks like it is going to be Vicente Guerrero, sure enough, in the 14. That's a Dale Cup teammate. And if somehow he can cycle out with the lead pack, even though he's a lap down, he could certainly still help one of his teammates to the win. Steve Korsek still leading the way here. Let's ride on board with Garrett Maines. Actually, let's ride out the back of Steve Korsek here, as you see just how close Garrett Maines gets in the corners. That will get a lot closer as this race comes down to the finish. And I feel like there's a lot of mutual respect between these two drivers. I think everybody has figured out by now that Steve Korsek got to be the man when it comes to qualifying. I mean, the line he is running is something that I know a lot of people think it's real simple, and I guess in theory it is, but nobody has been able to figure out how to run even close to as fast as that 27 truck when it comes in terms of qualifying. And then in the race, we've seen Dale Cup just continue to get better and better each week. Garrett Maines doesn't really have any of his teammates up here right now. I think the closest thing he has to that is going to be Jeff Merck, but Jeff Merck even is a couple spots back right now. They continue to stay out. Let's see if we can check out this pack further back and see if they're making up any ground. Still being led by Gabe Butler. Kyler Wynn is 20 seconds over him. They are closing the gap on Kyler Wynn and them, who have joined the back of that pack that we saw catching that 4-truck pack. And these, what's going to be 6 now, might start to get a little racy. We got a tandem on the bottom up top. And that tandem of Dylan Jones and Kyler Wynn are going to tag onto the back of that inside line, pushing Danny Esselman and NASCAR and Billa. Important to note that right now it looks like Zach Lima would be in your last money spot, as long as it is indeed a top 5 payout, which is where he sits. And we have seen a pretty good race so far, but with 9 to go, I'd like to do a crank it up, but I think I'm going to hold it here. Actually, I'll tell you what we'll do. We're going to run our crank it up segment here real quick, but if they pit, we'll go back live. Here we go. And that is to do it for tonight's first segment of Crank It Up, because we do have a race after this. But up front, it's still Steve Korsek. He is being followed and stalked right now by Garrett Maines, who, if he wanted to make a move, he would go. But right now, he just wants to stay here and see how this final pit cycle is going to shake up. Cody Nagels runs third, and Zachary Lima has Kenneth Stamper just in front of him. Those two rounding out the top 5. Kenneth Stamper up 1 spot from where he started, but been pretty consistent in the top 5 just about all night. And here he is. We saw him get himself in the money the other night. We'll see if he can do it again tonight. Good to see Kenneth back on the money racing scene. Hopefully we continue to see him out here. The 23, Joey Allen. The 78 of David Duke. These are all lappers. So is Vicente Guerrero. And they're playing a factor in a couple of these packs that are spread out throughout the track. We still have not seen these guys pit just yet. But that second group, you got to wonder, is their strategy going to play out? They did decide to pit early. It looks like they have been catching this pack. We're not sure if they've been catching the pack of the group in front of them, or the leaders, but here we go. We're going to see our final pit stops. Garrett Maines is going to come down pit road. Ooh, big lockup from Steve Korsek. He's trying to get it woed up. Oh, man, it looks like he just does as he goes 3 wide with Jeff Merck and Zachary Lima. I think Korsek realized late that they were pitting, and, man, he did have a heck of a job getting it slowed down, assuming he doesn't get a penalty here. And now the race is about to be on. We'll see where that third group files out. You see they are just now working their way into turn 4. And they're trying to get around here as quick as possible. Out of turn 4 comes that second group, but Garrett Maines, just like that, he is already out and leaving pit road. That second group, look for him in the tri-oval in 3, 2, 1. Here they are. But man, with 3 trucks, it's going to be really close. I don't know if they quite have enough. We'll watch it here from the blimp cam. You see that gap continue to close. It looks like they'll be able to tag on, if nothing else, to at least the back of this group. To the, I believe that was that Joey? No, the 04 of Ambrose Kniebel. That's who they're currently going by. Ambrose currently 1 lap down in 18th. They're trying to catch on to the back of Jeff Merck, who's trying to catch on to the back of Cody Nagels. So it's still all kind of broken up, but they're going to have 5 more laps to sort it out. This group up front, though, is trying to pull away, and they have linked up tight. I'll tell you what, looking at it now, I don't think that Jeff Merck, those 3 trucks that pitted earlier of Gabe Butler, Richard Sanchez, and Dude Conrad are going to have enough time to catch these fast 5 who right now are all guaranteed money and might save the racing until the white flag lap, knowing that fact. But Garrett Maines, we saw him do this the first time, came out of pit road before the Dale Cup drivers, and he's going to do it again here. The difference this time is he has 3 Dale Cup drivers in this pack going against him. He's going to have to hope Kenneth Stamper chooses to work with him, because if not, he's going to have to try to do some blocking. I'm not sure. He'll have to figure it out. But right now, I'm telling you, he has got to be feeling really vulnerable and kind of like a sitting duck as they work around what is going to be the lap truck of Michael Kirk, as I believe that might be his second lap down now. Ooh, Cody Nagels here is actually going to jump to the inside a little bit early. Kenneth Stamper jumps down too. That might have been a little attempt at a move. Didn't work out if it was. But we are coming to what is going to be 3 laps to go if we take the white flag. No more cautions, but you got to hope and you got to kind of think, if you will, that these guys are going to run each other pretty respectful, knowing that they're all guaranteed money right now, and the last thing they'd want to do is accidentally put themselves in jeopardy of losing that, especially with the payouts being as decent as they are. Gabe Butler sits 3 seconds behind the back bumper of Cody Nagels. That gap is ever so slightly expanding. And it looks like the lapper here, I'm not sure who that is, might play a little bit of a role here. Is that going to be Joey Allen? No, it's not. Is that going to be, who is that going to be? Not 100% sure, but I was going to say that lapper may play out at the perfect time. Gabe Butler, is that Michael Kirk actually? Sure enough, it is. Michael Kirk going to help them out at least a little bit, but I don't think it's going to quite be enough time. Up front, Cody Nagels. Ooh, Vicente Guerrero is going to jump off the track. He's going to bring it down to pit road. I thought maybe he'd stay out right there and try to help his teammates. But Gabe Butler is now falling back to 3.5 seconds, so they don't have a chance at it unless these 5 were to get racy right now. But 2 laps to go here at Talladega. Last chance for a caution here. But everybody has stayed clean so far. It's been a great race in terms of seeing this one long green flag run. We haven't even had any incidents at all, and hopefully we can finish this thing off clean with a great finish. And they are trying everything possible to shuffle Kenneth Stamper out. That's what Cody Nagels is trying to do, that is. And he's going to be successful in it. You see he was able to bait that 30 truck to go high, and the reason he did that is because now it is going to be a 3-on-1 battle. Can't imagine what Garrett Maines is thinking here. This is going to be an exciting lap to watch. They are playing mind games with each other. Steve Korsak knows if he can just get his nose just in front of the back bumper, that 31, it is probably Dale Cup's race to lose right here, because he's going to have Zachary Lima and Cody Nagels going with him. 3 versus 2 battle. It's going to be decided right here. White flag is in the air one more time around. Garrett Maines leads into turn 1. When's the move going to come? We know that Dale Cup splits the money. They very well might wait till out of 4, but you're either going to see it on the back stretch this time or the front stretch. Let's see if they make their move out of 2. Nothing yet. He is still sticking to the back bumper of Garrett Maines. And do they try to back up, or does he stay as close as possible and try to fake him one way? This is the kind of mind games we like to see here at Talladega Superspeedway into turn 3 for the final time. Watch the front stretch, maybe even the travel. That's where the move's going to come. And Garrett Maines is looking everywhere but out his front windshield right now. He is mirror driving the heck out of this 31 truck. He's going to have to hold him off. Here we go, out of 4. Cody Nagels, Zachary Lima are starting to line up that run. Steve Korsak with one final push, and he's actually just going to stay low here. Didn't expect this. Hey, maybe he's working with Garrett Maines at the line. Garrett Maines is going to win it at Talladega. And that was almost a little bit of an anticlimactic finish, but either way, good job by Garrett Maines to hold off the charging Dale Cup team. Zachary Lima finishes 2nd, Steve Korsak 3rd, and Cody Nagels 5th. And you know what I kind of wonder right now, and I could be wrong on this, we'll have to see if we can find out in the interview, is if maybe first through fourth actually paid the same. Not sure, but I'll tell you what, I was certainly shocked there. I thought maybe they would try to take Garrett Maines earlier. I felt like he was a sitting duck, but wasn't the case here. This is coming into the tribal. And Steve Korsak, I don't know if he didn't get the run he wanted, or I personally think maybe he just committed. He decided, hey, Garrett, maybe let him know I'm staying with you until we finish this thing off. My teammates go high, so be it. And Zachary Lima did go high. If he had a little bit more room, maybe he could have got there. It just ran out of time for Zachary Lima as the margin of victory was 0.05 of a second. And there it is, Garrett Maines winning at Talladega. One more time, back that up. And there you go. Let's go back and see if Garrett has decided to do some burnouts. It looks like, did we have a couple guys? Oh, no, that's just guys that were wrecking after the finish. And that's, I'll tell you what, it almost is nice, kind of refreshing to have a race like that once in a while, if you know what I mean, because a lot of times we're used to seeing these things end with a big wreck and whoever squeaks through it wins it. But this was just 4 to 5 trucks. 5 trucks, Kenneth Stamper was in it as well, that just did a heck of a job pulling away from the rest of the field. And all put themselves in a spot to win money, and that's what they did. So here we go. We're going to see Garrett Maines. Does he decide to burn it down right here? Sure enough, he does. You betcha. It looks like Steve Korsak, Zach Lima, they're all burning it down. It feels like a victory for every single one of them. And your winner of the Dash for the Cash here on Saturday night, for one more time, just in case you somehow forgot, Garrett Maines, Coca-Cola Series drivers. And if you wonder why, well, there's your answer. Knows how to get it done at the tracks where I know a lot of people say it's easy to win super speedways. It's not, because you're only as good as your teammates. Garrett Maines didn't have any real teammates there, but with that, he may have made an alliance with them. Like I said, I do have a couple of questions in the interview, so we'll have to see. There's some pretty good-looking burnouts there from the 31 truck as well. Good-looking burnouts to match the good-looking ChevyLiners.com paint scheme. And let's pull up your results while we still give everybody a chance. Get in the booth here. Finishing first is going to be Garrett Maines second, Zachary Lima third, Steve Korsak fourth, Cody Nagels. Rounding up top 5 is going to be Kenneth Stamper 6th, Richard Sanchez 7th, Dude Conrad 8th, Dylan Jones 9th, Larry McDonald. Rounding up top 10 is going to be Nash Brambilla 11th, Kyler Wynn 12th, Gabe Butler 13th, Jeff Merck 14th, Michael Kirk, 15th, Vicente Guerrero 16th is going to be Danny Eshelman 17th, Joey Allen 18th is going to be Ambrose Kniebel. And the last truck in the field tonight, rounding out 19th position, is going to be David Duke in the 78 truck. We saw go a lap down there a little bit earlier. Must have had a couple of incidents. And let's go check real quick. Actually, back this up a little bit. Keep this to your finish while we hear interviews. In case you missed it, you can see just how close it was right here. Not all that close. I know I use that as a phrase, but in general. Here we go. Let's go see who we got up here in the booth right now. Looks like we do have Zachary Lima right now, your second place finisher, but we will bring up these other two real quick. And we will go ahead and start first with your third place finisher, Steve Korsak. Steve, got a copy? And I have myself muted. That is why you can't hear me. We will start first with your third place finisher, Steve Korsak. Steve, got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, that was almost a little refreshing and nice to see up here in the broadcast booth, a race where pit strategy and the guys who were best on and off pit road all got themselves locked into a money spot. So what was the game plan there after that first pit stop?
The game plan was to just push, push, push. We wanted to get separation from the pack, and I think we did a pretty good job.
Well, coming to the end there, I thought for sure with, Dale Cup, you and a couple of your teammates lined up, 2, 3, and 4, you guys would all make Garrett Maines a sitting duck there. But it looked like maybe there was some coordination there. Were you guys all just deciding that that's how you wanted it to end to make sure it stayed clean? What was the thought there on the end?
Yeah, I think that we were content with just placing in the money where we were.
Well, it seems like a good strategy by not potentially risking anything dangerous there at the end. Congrats on the third place finish. That's going to be a 2-3-4 for Dale Cup. Before we let you go, though, is anyone else you'd like to thank or shout out?
Yeah, shout out Ghost Racing, shout out Jimmy Crow, and shout out Dale Cup. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Your third place finisher, Steve Korsak, says they were all happy finishing in the money, and that's the attitude you like to see from some of these guys. Moving on to your second place finisher now, it's going to be Zachary Lima, Steve's teammate. Zach, you got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, it looked like you were the first one to make a move there at the end. Not quite enough time. What more do you need?
I was just trying to pass Korosek. That was my goal.
Well, it looks like mission accomplished. Was there any thought earlier about pulling out, or were you determined you were going to wait till that last lap to do it?
Well, we were all working together, and because of Kenneth, that's why me and Cody decided to pull out. The plan wasn't to pass Korosek, but it's just all fun and games. And we had a good race and a good finish, and we're just having fun.
Well, it looked like it was a fun job. All right, before we let you go, though, is anyone else you want to thank or shout out tonight?
Yeah, I got to give a shout out to you for hosting the broadcast. Shout out to the team racing with. You can't do this without a team. And shout out to Jimmy Crow. So thanks for the broadcast, man.
All right, well, thank you. You guys make it easy to broadcast. That was Zachary Lima, your second place finisher, in the Ford truck. Now let's move on to your winner, Garrett Maines in the 31. Garrett, you got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, I'll tell you what, initially I thought on that last lap, you probably had your hands full thinking, when's the move coming? But it sounds like maybe you guys had a little bit more coordination than initially thought. Was the game plan there just to kind of ride and finish where you guys were and everybody bring home some money?
Yeah, I mean, I got into this race. I didn't have any of the normal guys that I'd work with. My dad wasn't here; he's actually at a wedding tonight. So I hit up Steve, and I knew they would be really hard to beat tonight. And I knew working together, we'd be able to make something happen. And I mean, everybody executed perfectly there. The pit road, just I knew when we came off pit road the second time that we had it if we didn't get a yellow. And everybody just did their part perfectly. Our pace when we were in a line together was phenomenal. So everybody, big shout out to Steve and Zachary and Cody there at the end. I feel bad for Vicente. I think he got an unsafe pit exit. We merged up, and I think he just merged up a split second before. But everybody just did such a great job throughout that whole race, and it ended up being a clean one there at the end, and everybody was able to get some money.
Well, it certainly was a fun one to watch, but it looked like by you getting out of pit road on both pit stops ahead of these guys, that might have been ultimately what allowed you to stay in front towards the end. Before we let you go, though, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out tonight?
Yeah, absolutely. Got to give a huge shout out to MCU Body, Lennox, Cover Seal, the guys at FGR Excel. Huge shout out to Ryko Motorsports and Victory One for the phenomenal cars they put together. We had a really good showing last night in the late model showdown, and hopefully we'll have another great showing in the Coke race on Tuesday.
All right, well, we wish you the best of luck as well. That is your first place finisher, Garrett Maines in the 31 truck. And we will let those guys go enjoy their winnings. Before we let you go, though, quick reminder, we don't have the actual advertisement for it up, but right after this, well, not right after, but race will start at about 10 Eastern, Ghost Racing Network. We have it scheduled in case you guys want to go check it out. We'll be heading over to the NOMA Truck Series for a Bristol. It's going to be I believe it's the Good Life, or I believe it's the Good Life or something, 133. Again, haven't got that all quite set up, but make sure you tune in for it. It's going to be a good one. Bristol, the high bank short track, sure to deliver action. We'll see who has the most patience. I hope everybody did enjoy tonight. Good racing. One more congratulations to your winner, Garrett Maines in the 31 truck. We will see everybody next time, and have a good one.